Welcome to Real Nerds. I'm Ryan. To my left is
Brad.
To my right,
James.
and right in front of me is
Sierra.
and
Aaron.
yay!
We need like an exterior mic to put on the table for people who are
Yeah, next week I'll remember to bring the
another
tabletop
splitter.
mic. Yeah.
Anyways,
that'd
this
be
week me and James saw the Muppets. Nobody else did because they're not cool like me.
Well, we refused to let
Or
them go.
two of your friends just decided to go without you.
Well, my wife guilted
Hey.
me into seeing it.
Also, we were all going to go Wednesday, and then that fell apart, and that's not my fault.
Yep. Anyways, usually we do real news right now, but I'm going to change it up.
What?
Here comes the curveball. Real mail.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, we got mail this week.
We did get mail
Ryan's
this
really
week.
excited
insane.
about mail.
I am.
Yeah.
Except for the topic is not that exciting. Every day I go to a Wells Fargo in Boulder, Colorado, and this girl there,
Wait, why every day?
because I have to do
Oh,
deposits.
for business reasons.
Yeah, business reasons, not because I want
Not like
to.
because you want to find
I'm
out how
like,
much
we
money
bank.
you got in the
Like-
bank.
I'm like, I want to go to Wells Fargo.
Hey, baby, how
Totally.
many dollars I got today?
So I go in there, and last week, was the longest week of my life because I watched all the Twilight movies, and I found out that a teller there who always helps me, Aaron, loves the Twilight movies and books.
It's a different Aaron. It's not the Aaron who attends.
Yeah, it's not the Aaron who's staring directly at me,
What up?
and she's really mad today. I don't know why.
Yeah, she is really kind of pissy.
But we heart you.
I'm okay with it.
Anyways, so I told her, I said, well, if you like Twilight so much, you should please email me a defense for Twilight. And she did, and it wasn't just saying, Twilight is good, the end.
I like boys.
She actually kind of put some thought into it. So I'm going to read it, and you guys feel free to stop me at any time and chime in. So it says, Ryan, guilty pleasures are something everyone needs. Twilight is an overtold story. The girl who falls in love with a bad guy because she can see the good in him and gets him to see the good too, i.e. Dirty Dancing. So I don't know if comparing Twilight to Dirty Dancing is a good argument, but
Or if it's a good argument that it's a good movie.
but hey, Patrick Swayze, he had the time of his life until this year.
And it's not about necessarily the story archetype itself. Like, yes, that story in a general way has been told.
Yeah.
It's that in this case, the way the story is told is offensive and horrible.
Anyway,
go on.
So then she continues that this version brings fairy tales in as a way to bring readers and viewers alike back to when they were a little girl and were wishing for their prince, in this case a vampire, to come and save them from their mundane life. Girls, do you wish for a prince to come and save you? Is that...
I have such a mundane life. Yes.
Yeah?
But by saving her from
Is your
mundane
prince
life-
Michael Fassbender?
Maybe. And if I may, is your lust for him characterized by a kind of sexual terror? Because
Yeah.
that's how the books end.
Well, and she doesn't he doesn't bring excitement and love to her life, and now they have this great life together. What he brings is pregnancy and death, which is in no way fun at all. I mean, in the real world, pregnancy might be, but in this world, pregnancy is death, so that's not fun.
And backsnapping. Everybody wants a little mystic and magic in life, whether or not that includes a vampire and or a werewolf. Bella is described as an average girl with an average life.
But she's not. She is an empty girl with an empty life.
She's a shell of
Which
a
is
woman.
not the same. If she had friends and hung out with them on the weekend and they did stuff together, that would be one thing. And then she's like, also now there's this boy in my life. That would be fine. But she has nothing because she's poorly written and then gives up whatever little she has for this dude.
She needs a hobby.
That isn't a boy.
Maybe it's painting really bad pictures of dogs and putting them next to her bed.
Oh, God, that was the worst.
And then she continues to say, I would say she is not a bad role model for women. She is what they wish could happen to them.
Ooh. Oh, honey.
And the girls look at me like, I can't believe you just read that from another woman.
Huh.
Getting swept off their feet by a man who will take care of them. Also, Edward wants Bella to go to college, and that was a heavy theme through the books and the movies. I don't remember him saying you should go to college, to tell you the truth.
Well,
Did you?
If it's in the book...
Didn't read the books. So.
Did
Yeah.
anybody else see the first or any of the other movies?
First
Well,
was the first one.
Did he ever
I-
mention her going to college? I
I
don't
would
remember.
I would assume that is actually there because in like the second.
Well, I know
third
he
one,
doesn't want her to be a vampire.
Right.
He wants her to live her life, but she cannot live her life not being a vampire because she's going to grow old, and Edward's still going to be the hottest guy in campus. And she'll look in the mirror and
Or Rio.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Edward wants Bella. Oh, I already said that part. Also, the author is Mormon, and her religion does play a huge role in the story.
Yeah.
They do not have sex till they're married. Also, a heavy theme in the story. That is a good role model for young girls to have. Speaking as a teacher in a high school, I cannot
Now,
count how many
okay.
times I hear girls talking about who they are sleeping with now, or who they are going to be sleeping with.
Okay, the problem with the way they talk about sex in the books, or in the movies, I should say, is not that they're promoting abstinence. It's the way that they treat sex and the way that she reacts to sex. It's sort of a lack of maturity that surrounds.
Yeah,
that
you know, I don't
subject.
think-
not necessarily like not having sex until you get married is fine. Like
Yeah,
you know,
that's totally
whatever.
fine.
But when she's finally married, it's not like she is suddenly mature enough to actually deal with these issues. Like
I agree. It's because they do deal with you shouldn't have sex till you're married, but it's really not Bella who doesn't want to have sex till she's
Oh,
married.
yeah.
Like
yeah, her
Edward-
sexuality is never her own.
yeah, she wants him so bad, but Edward's the one who turns her down because I guess he's still a virgin for 117 years.
Is he? There was
Yeah.
like a joke in that one
Yeah, I don't know. I
that
guess
I didn't understand, and everybody else laughed, and I was like, "That wasn't. Am I missing something?"
Yeah.
There's like a weird sexual imagery around him killing all those dudes. It's very, very homoerotic.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think the
Yeah.
werewolves are the most homoerotic part. They're always running around without shirts on, and they're running in like a group. Like,
Plus, they've got dude tribal tattoos, and
Yeah.
I just assume those guys are gay.
and then she said, however, I will agree that she can be a bad role model for girls. We do want girls to grow up and be independent thinkers and want to aspire to be something more than just a pretty housewife. But again, he does want more for her, which is true. I mean, he does
Yeah.
say that, but if he really wanted to, he would just leave and tell her to get on with her life. I mean, she will ride a motorcycle to get him jealous. But I went on to read like an article in my New Entertainment Weekly a couple weeks ago that the screenwriter added that part. It's not in the books.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why would you add
building
such a stupid part?
motorcycle to Jacob? Obviously I don't understand it because I never read the book, so I don't understand.
How did she and Jacob become like friends and fall in love if not through him building a motorcycle?
You know what? I'll have to never read the books and let you know. Then she went on to say to me, she's kind of taking a shot at me here, I would recommend that you also read the books. The movies are not great because of the acting. Don't worry, I have them all and you can borrow them. They should be easy for you since their target audience is 16.
That's
That's right. I made
that
fun
was
of,
good.
Yeah, I made
like
fun
this
of
one.
her stuff all week. So
I like you, Aaron. That was good.
Also, the story gives girls someone to relate to. Getting your heart broken and trying to get back into the swing of things is not easy. Yeah, she is a bit traumatic in hers.
I have a question.
But
The
again-
question is, when is her heart broken?
Well, in the second one, when he's like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore because you're gonna want to to be a vampire.
And she stares
And
out
then-
the window for 3 months.
Yeah, and then she
They
has
have like the title card. Like there's like November, and
then-
it goes 360.
And then
December.
And then it never gets fixed. Correct? They never see each other again, right? She never sees Edward ever again. After
no,
that.
she
she-
does. Yeah, no, she does.
No, she does because
Yeah,
she
no.
jumps on a motorcycle
I
of a
know.
bad guy, and he's like, "Wait,
Well, so
What are you
you're
doing?
saying that because they get back together, that her heart was never
No,
broken,
it's
but he
because
did
that,
like
it's-
dump her and leave her.
It's not her getting her heart broken and then having to piece her life back together.
Oh, I see what you
A
mean.
huge relationship.
Yeah, she never gets over it. She actually tries to kill herself until finally she
See,
gets her
I don't
boyfriend
think-
back.
Yeah,
Which
I-
that's actually even worse.
I
You're
don't
right.
think she
You're
tries to
absolutely
kill
right.
herself though, because she does.
She tries to.
Just would like
Doesn't
that.
she try to run
When
a
she takes a
motorcycle
dive
off
off
a
the
bridge?
cliff?
No,
Yeah.
she jumps off a cliff because Edward has to come back and save her.
Yeah,
because
that's-
she
yeah.
sees him. Like she's not trying to kill herself,
But
she
that's
wants Edward to
insane.
save
She's
her.
playing games with him. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she's trying to kill herself per se. I think she's trying to get Edward to playing games with him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
But
insane.
finding
And it's not
someone
healthy behavior.
you
which makes it a
can
bad role
trust and
model.
open up to after is just as hard. The books do a much better job in describing how she begins to heal having Jacob, Wolf Boy, because I call him Wolf Boy all the time. She's pretty funny in her email. Around, but is not over Edward. Also feeling like you're out of place and do not belong is a feeling many teens have.
But again, it's the same argument that Aaron just had, that she never fixes that. She gets this weird boyfriend that makes her actually even more isolated from the rest of the world.
And I think
she doesn't build friends.
And this is my point, trying to say that she's not a good role model for women, because she
isolates
only
herself
identifies herself through the relationships she has with men.
Yeah.
And her relationship with Jacob is she uses this guy to make Edward jealous to come back, and then they have this love triangle, and she constantly uses him throughout the whole series.
If I were her, I would be best friends with Anna Kendrick, and that would be the whole story. Maybe I'm biased.
And then you and Anna Kendrick would get married.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, it would be gay Twilight. Wait, this is.
You know what you could do, James, is just get cancer and visit her in the hospital.
Having a character like Bella to relate to can be comforting to teenage girls. Knowing the way to portray that girls belong somewhere. Wait, I skipped the line, I think. Sorry. Knowing they are not the only ones. However, having a male be the one to make her feel like she belongs somewhere and matters may not be the best way to portray that girls belong somewhere.
Agreed.
Yes. But we all strive to find someone special we can connect with and belong with. Someone we are perfect for and with. This may have been better if Bella was older than 17 in the story. I think that is everything, but if I think of anything else, I will email that to Aaron.
I find myself strangely agreeing with her in that there are a lot of caveats where she will say something and then go, now, maybe it would be better if not, and then the thing that makes it all horrible.
Yeah, she brings up good points.
Yeah, like she says things that are nice about it that if you looked at it in a general way, you could see like, oh, okay, I see what she's trying to say, and yeah, that's not bad. But unfortunately, when you look at the details and you really, break it down into what is the thing actually saying, what the thing is actually saying is horrible.
Yeah, I agree. I think the message is messed up in the delivery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the character of Bella is a terrible person. One, she's terrible to her husband, boyfriend, and then Wolf Boy.
Horrible to Billy Burke.
And horrible to her dad, calls him Charlie for 3 movies. And all he does is try...
And then starts hanging up on him.
Yeah.
If I may, Sierra's a great person, and she calls her parents by their names.
You do? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Bob and Nancy.
I just do.
Yeah.
Did they tell you to call your parents by their
I
names?
just started when I was like 13.
And they never had a problem with it?
Sierra's like 40. Like,
Old
you're
lady.
mine.
But Sierra, you're an awesome person.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it. Time for some real news.
It's real news! Oh shit, this is the part where I have to do something.
Yeah, because I don't remember reading anything that I cared
Brad, do you
about
have
this
anything?
week.
No.
Alright. Well, I did find one slightly interesting thing, which is that this week they announced, and it's sort of expected, they announced that they're shooting the next Star Trek movie, and they're shooting it in 3D.
That's not shocking at all.
Well, it is kind of to me, and here's why. Last year at Comic-Con, there was a panel that J.J. Abrams was on, and was it the Visionary panel? No, it wasn't. Anyway, and he said something about them not shooting Super 8 in 3D, and the entire crowd erupted in cheers and everything. And he just sort of said it like as a footnote, like he just said like, oh, we're not going to do it in 3D. And then he was starting to move on, but because of the cheer, he had to stop and pause and wait. And he said oh, well, that was interesting. And for a moment, you realize that you understood the gap between the fans and Hollywood as far as how the actual people making movies, not the producers and stuff, but the real people making movies, don't necessarily know how we fans are reacting to, especially these big changes like 3D. And so it was kind of cool, because for a second I thought, maybe this means he's never going to do it. Now, we don't know whether or not he decided to do it, or whether, there was enough pressure that they really want him to make it in 3D. I probably won't. Well, I don't know. The truth is that a Star Trek movie is the kind of thing that I might see in 3D, because the space stuff is what tends to work.
Yeah, because you have a black background and stuff coming at you, and
exactly,
because a lot of the problem with 3D movies is they're too dark. So when you have one bright object in it, then I think it'd actually benefit the movie. But again, I don't think 3D has ever added anything to a movie where I said, even the Transformers, where I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar, I thought it was pretty cool. But I mean, I wouldn't sit down and say, I have to see that movie in 3D. It's
I would-
change. It's a game changer.
I would say that it did add something to How to Train Your Dragon, and
Jackass 3D.
Jackass 3D.
yeah, I mean it's different when it's something kitsch like that, like with Harold and Kumar. But like with How to Train Your Dragon, there were things where they changed the depth rather than changing the shot itself.
Yeah.
You know, like where them playing with 3D changed the way that the scene felt, or ramped up the intensity, and that was really cool. But it's the thing that I've said from the beginning, which is that it has to be a single thing floating in space, not connected to any of the frame, and then a flat background, and then it works. Other than that, like, you tend not to notice it. And that's why, like, space stuff, like the first few minutes of Transformers, I even said, like, I want to see a whole space movie because the first few minutes of Transformers were so cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, following that ship through all of that stuff was really badass.
Yeah, it was.
And so there is a part of me that maybe Star Trek in 3D would be cool, but it's as such a big fan of J.J. Abrams, there was a part of me that wanted him to just keep saying no, you know?
Yeah, I read an interview, I think it was with Ridley Scott, and he said actually he likes actors in 3D, because no, it's Scorsese, said that the actors in 3D, it feels like the performances have more depth in a strange way, not like literally, but
Yeah.
He said that. Oh, I do have a bit of Batman news. Brad, I'm surprised you didn't hear about it. And this is a kind of spoiler, but not really, because it was like the very top of the article. But they asked, Christopher Nolan about Bane, and he said, "Oh, Bane's the toughest guy Batman's ever going to face," and that's not really news. But the news is that this movie takes place 8 years after The Dark Knight.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Almost
I
a
didn't
decade
expect.
after-
So that
Yeah.
actually makes sense then, because with how many with your Catwomans and all of that,
Yeah.
like for the universe to be that different. Those are the things that made me nervous. Where I was like, how are you going to introduce Catwoman and get all of this stuff going? Well, if it's as easy as it's been 8 years and Batman's been on the run, so now Catwoman is, a vigilante / thief. Then that kind of stuff starts to make sense.
So is there going to be like an 8 years later title card, or are we going to figure that out through the narrative?
I don't know. That's all he said. He only said that he was. I mean, it's a spoiler kind of, but he's really vague in his description. He said takes place 8 years later, and Bane's a total badass.
Batman character called
I would-
Bane. He's
Bane.
just like,
I would not.
I look so pretty all the time.
I would not expect him to actually have a card that said 8 years later. I would expect him to just set it 8 years later.
The
and
movie
then
starts with the
have us-
Joker swinging off the building, and then he does his whole thing, and then it just cuts to 8 years later.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it might, but I think you're right. I think Nolan's too creative a filmmaker to just have a title card.
That's not in 3D, is
It's
it?
gonna be
No.
on the 8th anniversary, yeah.
Well, maybe the Joker's girlfriend in the first Batman movie was named Vane. Remember, she had the mask, and she was really concerned about her looks.
I forgot about that character.
Yeah, and you don't
Because that was pre Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
That's why when you said that, I was like, "Don't you just mean Harley Quinn?" But that was before Harley Quinn existed.
yeah.
That's interesting.
And
I never thought about that.
Batman 1989 is terrible.
Wow,
Blasphemy.
It's not
Remember when Batman's animated at the beginning?
terrible.
Yeah,
And he's
because
on
they
the
had
rooftop?
CGI already.
Well, why don't they just film Michael Keaton walking into the room?
There was
They
a
don't have a giant cathedral to shoot top down from.
Yeah, they do.
how do you not like Jack Nicholson Joker? I mean, it's
He's
not
all right.
it's not as good as
He's like the 80s Joker, just a big clown prince, right?
Yeah.
70s Joker?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
tell
the
you-
makeup is weird. but-
I don't mind. I like when he becomes a Joker and he's laughing and stuff. I thought that scene was really cool. But I don't like when Batman's Batwing is flying through the streets of Gotham and he pulls out a big gun and he shoots it once and it crashes.
yeah, that was crappy.
That's stupid. And Batman just shoots around him. Come on.
But
Stupid.
the score is really good.
It is good.
There's
And
a
then-
song in that
Classic
movie
Green.
called "The Waltz of Death."
And I like when he's fighting the Joker at the top of the cathedral and he says, "You never hit a guy with glasses, would you?" He puts on glasses and Batman still socks him.
Yeah,
But everything else, man.
I really hate the scene in the alleyway where he catches bullets like Darth Vader. That was shitty.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They say he drinks blood. And I say you're full of shit, Knox. Yeah. I've seen that movie a lot, though.
plus they explain this backstory of the Joker. Yeah, all right, that movie's not good. Never mind.
And they make the Joker kill Batman's parents. Blah-blah. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
It's like an alternate reality comic book. Why can't you go with it?
Because it's stupid.
And you know what? Michael Keaton's not a very good Batman.
What?
I think Batman Returns
You know what?
is better than the
You know
first
what?
Batman.
Michael Keaton's not
That's
a very
ridiculous.
good. Just anything.
let's just save this for a Batman podcast.
All right, let's fight.
Anyways, I guess.
Oh, that's all
Brad-
the story I have.
Yeah,
That's all the news I have.
Yeah, it's kind of
Sorry,
slow.
yeah.
Everybody's on holiday break.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Brad, what have you been watching? I guess you've been watching a lot, and you wanted to tell us about it.
Yeah, I've pretty much all I can do in my apartment while I'm unpacking is watch movies. So
It was fun though.
yeah, I watched a bunch. Although I went out and saw two, and I forgot to talk about one of them last week. I went and saw the Giorgio Moroder version of Metropolis, which is basically the
Wait,
old
the
black and white
animated
movie.
one? Or wait, do you mean the original Metropolis?
Original Fritz Lang one.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess
Wait, but this
Giorgio
is a-
Moroder's Fritz Lang's Metropolis.
Wait. Okay, how is it different than Fritz Lang's Metropolis?
All 80s synth music.
Okay, so it's just that they changed the music underneath.
Yeah, well, it's a silent movie. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
the only thing audio-wise you can change, I think, like they just released that full edition. Like
Yeah, where they
got the
found
restored
that-
footage.
that, like-
This one doesn't have that,
Oh, okay.
so it's whatever cut they had in like 1982 or whatever.
Weird.
But yeah, it's all 80s synth music. It's super cheesy, and I
Did
fell
you-
asleep towards the end. So
Did you really?
I
Well, the
couldn't
end
help-
is when it gets exciting.
I saw Anonymous before that, so it was like a double feature, and I was exhausted from
Oh,
moving.
okay.
So I just tried to stay awake. It wasn't that it was boring. It's just my
See,
brain just
I can't
shut off.
sleep in public places.
That's a creepy thought, like, because I was one of 3 people in the theater, so I could have been murdered.
Anyone could have touched you.
Yeah. And actually, a guy did sit like right behind me too. So
They put up a
Yeah.
a caption bubble next to you. This guy blows goats. I have proof.
Oh man.
so yeah,
So did you enjoy Metropolis?
I did. I thought it was more science fiction. Like there'd be more. It's more like the production design. Like there's
Yeah.
the underground. That's kind of science fictiony, but the rest of it's very just like 19.
Well, there's also a robot that turns into a lady.
Yeah, and like for maybe one scene. Like I don't remember
Yeah.
seeing her for more
You
than
have
just
to,
that.
You have to imagine that she's a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like the sprawling city shots. Like they have that track,
Right.
the running track, and then they have the matte painting, and then like it's not the restored version, so you can see like the layers crossing each other. Yeah, it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I saw that, and I tried to watch the restored version this morning, and I didn't get through it in time, but but yeah, it was weird, like because the restored version has like an orchestra, and then I was just trying to imagine the synth music the whole time. And, yeah.
Do you feel like the synth music actually sort of fits with the movie?
In a way, it kind of does.
Because I saw the orchestral
Orchestral
version.
version, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just because like it's the first time, the issue of me seeing it the first time is the synth. Like I just kind of
Yeah.
getting immersed in that first. Like that's the way I was introduced to it. So I kind of missed it when I was watching the orchestral. But the orchestral seems very natural to the movie.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
so yeah, I saw that. Then the other midnight I saw was actually I'll save it for last because it's incorporated into our main movie.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
I saw
I'm gonna talk about it too. 'cause
at
I saw
home. I saw Tron Legacy again, but we already talked about that. And then the Vanilla Ice movie, Cool as Ice,
it. Wait, that's a thing?
which is not cool at all
What made you watch that?
because it was on streaming.
I do that every once in a while. I'm like, this movie looks stupid. I'm going to watch this.
You know, like Vanilla Ice is in the Ninja Turtles movie, so I was like,
is.
I gotta see. And I remember seeing the commercials when I was a kid. My friend Dax Shepard was super into Vanilla Ice, and he tried to
Your
convince me to
friend
get
Dax
the CD.
Shepard?
Wait.
Dax Jordan, sorry.
I was gonna say.
That's an actor. Yeah, we hang out.
He's famous.
I don't want to hang out with him. I just want to hang out with his wife.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Dax Jordan. He was a big Vanilla Ice fan. He tried to get me the CDs, or tried to get me to listen to his music and stuff. And like I think I asked my mom to take me to get the CDs, and she's like, "No, we're not doing that." And I thank her for it because I don't own those.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Word to your mother.
Yeah.
You know, right after
Oh.
that, Ice Ice Baby, they have a really stupid song afterwards. I forget how it goes, but it's God, now I sound like an idiot, but he like shouts like these stupid words throughout the whole thing.
yeah, he does that in the movie too. There's like R&B music, and then
Yeah,
he'll
so
get
wait,
to do a song.
So
and
what
then-
is the movie?
Yeah,
the
what's
movie
up?
is? Oh my god!
He just-
I thought I was watching the beginning of Hot Shots where that chick's riding the horse, right?
Yeah.
And then he's
my
driving
favorite
a
part of the movie.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that same thing happens in the opening of. I thought I was watching that movie.
Does he
All of a
dance
sudden,
on the
I was like,
top
"Where
of
have I seen this before?" Well, first they're riding into. He's got like a biker gang, and they have crotch rockets, not Harleys. They drive into town, and then the one guy's cycle breaks down, so they have to try and fix it in the middle of the street, and it pisses off all these people, and then they just kind of stand up and look at him, and then those people in the car talking their horn kind of cower a little bit because they're like, who are like they've got the 90s rave wear going on and everything, and like, oh my god, sorry. And then so they tow that one guy's motorcycle to this house in the suburbs, which looks like an educational center, and it's home to like this old mechanic and his goofy wife. They've got like globes, maps of the world on little pedestals as their fence, and then like multicolored roofing and siding, and then there's like a picture. There's a map of the world on the roof that has little steps so you can walk up through. It looks like an educational center for kids, but it's just a house. And somehow they know this guy, but they know each other, but they also kind of pick on him, and he'll still fix their bike. And then while they're waiting for also on the inside, there's just words all over the wall. Just random words. I didn't memorize them, but they're staggered, like small, big, and I'm sure they're words that Vanilla Ice kind of just says.
I remember what the CD says. It's like this really annoying. It says, "Yo, Vanilla, kick it one more time, boy."
All written out, yeah. So while they're waiting for the bike to get fixed, on the way from town, Vanilla Ice is driving his motorcycle, and there's the chick on the horse, like in her corral, riding along the fence.
Is the chick Naomi Campbell?
No, she's just singing in the background at one point. At the very, very beginning of the movie, which is inconsequential to everything, they're at a club, and it's got kind of like this Joel Schumacher camera flying through candles and lights thing. And then he's like, the group starts walking out of the club, and one blonde chick stops him and gives him her number. And then it moves on to the next scene of like riding through town. Anyway, he as he's riding along the highway and the girl's riding her horse, he just ups his bike over the fence and cuts her off, and the horse falls over and knocks her over.
Did she die?
No, she just gets up.
Breaks her fucking neck.
She gets up.
He kills
she's all
a horse
pissed
with
off.
his motorcycle.
No, he just knocks it out. But she gets up, dusts herself off. She's like all
It's
annoyed,
only
and
unconscious.
they have some exchange, and she storms off, leaves the horse behind. And then he's like,
Fuck the
"Yeah,
horse anyway."
she likes me."
Hey, James, you should read the
yeah,
description
no,
of it on
no,
IMDb.
IMDb refers to it as a rap-oriented remake of Rebel Without a Cause.
Who plays Sal Minio's character?
I didn't see Rebel Without a Cause. So, I guess this will be my closest interpretation.
Alison
So
Dee
anyway.
plays the role of Princess.
That girl storms off, and then they go try to get the bike fixed. And while they're waiting, Vanilla Ice walks out on the lawn and sees this Corvette pull up, and it's the guy and that same girl, like that's her boyfriend. So that same girl just happens to live across the street from where their destination was. And then he walks over there and tries to hit on her in front of her boyfriend, like he's not even there. And that guy doesn't even get bothered that much. He just kind of like stands back and lets them talk and kind of looks back and forth a little bit.
Maybe
and
Stephanie Meyers watched that and she wrote that in
inspiration
Twilight.
for Twilight. Yeah. So with his little snide remarks, like kind of starts getting her interested in him. And then there's a bunch of exchanges like that where they try to get closer to each other. And then there's this side plot of two hitmen watching this girl's house because her dad
Took all the globes.
I kind of
Here's the map of everything.
I was kind of half watching it too because it was very disinteresting. But I guess her dad was into some shit, and so they're actually in a witness protection program since before that girl was born. So later on, when her little brother gets kidnapped by the hitmen, the dad has to explain what's going on to her, and he's like, "Look, this isn't my real name, and you're not who you are." And
Vanilla Ice's sequel to Goodfellas.
And then, so while before that happens, Vanilla Ice is trying to court the girl, and at one point, like she's on her bed thinking about him, and he's off doing his other like partying and stuff. And then the next morning, she wakes up and he's laying in bed like next to her, like he broke into her house somehow without alerting anyone. And then like she's
Wait a minute,
like,
who the fuck did
can you get out? Because
It does sound like Twilight.
she thinks it's, she actually enjoys the fact that like she woke up next to him, and then she tries to get changed, and then her little brother walks in the room, And the little brother met him earlier when he was like visiting the house, and the little brother is just like, "Oh, cool, you're here." Not that. Who's this guy in my sister's room, and where'd you come from? And then the kid tries to start dressing like Vanilla Ice throughout the movie, and trying to be like him. And then anyway, so there's a typical thing where Vanilla Ice and the girl like become infatuated with each other, and then he does. I think she does something to piss him off, and so he leaves her.
Yeah, because Vanilla Ice would never piss anybody off.
Like she breaks his heart, and then later on, like the little brother gets kidnapped, so he comes back and like tries to track down the hitmen, and he rides into the hitman. He and the whole biker gang ride into the hitman's hideout and just like run over everybody and like kind of do the lasso thing, and then they drive back into town to the girl's house with like the hitman strapped to the this car's windshield and turn them into the cops. That's so goofy.
This movie, directed by a gentleman named David Kellogg.
Oh, that's the other thing.
Who is the director of such films as Inspector Gadget, 1999, and Playboy, The Best of Wet and Wild.
Yeah.
No, what's even better? Guess who the DP is?
Who?
Janusz Kaminski, Spielberg's DP.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I was like, this is shot well.
What the shit?
But yeah, I guess you got to start somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
This is pre-Schindler's List, so.
Yeah.
Well, I read in my Friday 13th book, the editor for Friday 13th Part 6 is one of Spielberg's editors, and he wasn't going to take it, but Steven Spielberg said, you take every job. Mm-hmm. So maybe that has to do with him taking Cool as Ice. And did the kid say, oh my gosh, you're so cool? Well, as cool as ice.
No, I wish that had been the perfect exclamation point to the movie. So that was, I watched that. And then I also watched Take Me Home Tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Which was not really, like, there's a couple, like, maybe 3 funny lines, and then the rest of the movie just is, like, on autopilot. Like, guy's trying to chase this girl who he had a crush on in high school, and, of course, she randomly shows up, and he finds ways to hang out with this party, and then he pretends to be a Goldman Sachs accountant, and he's actually good with numbers because he's actually had a degree in something science related. And then later on, she's like, "Oh, you lied to me. You're not a Goldman Sachs accountant." And it's.
Oh, I love Topher Grace. He's really good as Venom.
Did it feel like it was? Did it feel like it was making fun of the '80s, or actually placed well in the '80s?
It was placed well in the like it felt like the late '80s, 86, 87, but it wasn't like that raunchy or funny or like then the story wasn't that interesting.
See, I love that '70s show. I think that show's so funny.
I enjoyed it as well. But
I used to watch it to go to sleep.
That movie didn't sound good.
Yeah.
Did not.
Yeah, I thought it'd be. Nah, never mind.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't stop staring at this picture of Vanilla Ice.
With the Turtles 2 director's chair that says Vanilla Ice.
Oh wow.
Ninja rap.
Now he's all grunged out. And then like this, I watched Mortal Kombat today.
Nice.
First one streaming. So.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with the Goro puppet.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty
it's
impressive.
All right.
The voice doesn't sync up at all.
No,
but...
not at all. I mean, there's some cool parts. The only problem with the Mortal Kombat movie, it's Mortal Kombat and it's rated PG-13. So, like, the one fatality
is Scorpion
on himself.
Yeah.
And then they had a friendship where Johnny Cage leaves an autographed picture of him. It is all right.
Well, I thought Scorpion was hanging on to that. Like, I missed a part earlier where he secretly, like, infiltrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you didn't, because that part is like a lot of Paul W. Sanderson movies, where all of a sudden people just start fighting, like, out of a random place, because I think they tell Johnny Cage his next fight is in the forest, and he just starts walking, and all of a sudden Scorpion shows up.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? And a stupid thing out of his hand.
And then you can teleport him into, like, the outer world.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Why not just keep doing that till he just gets all disoriented?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all right, though. It could be worse.
The chameleon CGI is terrible, though.
Oh, yeah.
But
man, I like the Shang Tsung character.
And then Katana and Liu Kang fight, but they don't have to kill each other.
Yeah, they really didn't explain it very well. She's under like control of Shao Kahn because he's evil. They could make a really cool Mortal Kombat movie if they just had it about Sub-Zero killing Scorpion's family and Scorpion coming back for revenge.
Aren't they doing that? Oh, I don't know what the movie is, but they're making it.
Yeah, they're making a new one.
Yeah.
Off the dude who made the web series, which isn't that bad either. But you can't buy it at Best Buy. And you can't buy the Evil
you buy it
Dead
anyway?
25th anniversary at Best Buy.
Are those shorts on DVD?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Blu-ray only actually.
Oh, well, whatever.
But still,
Huh.
stupid.
Cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's all right.
what'd you guys watch?
James,
Well, I wanted. Yeah, you haven't caught up on The Walking Dead, so I can't talk about it in detail. But this week's episode of The Walking Dead is possibly the strongest episode of The Walking Dead since the premiere. And we sort of talked about this before the podcast, but it's not that anything special happens in this episode. It is just that this is a well-crafted, strong, interesting episode.
it's amazing.
I mean, they've been interesting so far, but the show is getting better every week, which is it's sort of finding that groove that it needs to find.
Yeah.
Part of it is that it's not. It has sort of found a place where it really is sort of following the story of the books more closely than it has been in the past. I think that's part of why it works so well now. But
But I think the one character that's still around has been the best part of the show. And some people will say it's.
I think that what they've done with stretching that plot out for people who have read the books and are caught up on the show and know what Ryan and I are talking about. What they're stretching out,
Maybe we could spoil it.
I think is really good. No, we can't spoil it. I think what they're stretching out is really good.
But how great was the scene when he came back and talked to Dale, though?
Whoa, ho! Now,
came
you
back
just
and
put
talked
your
to
finger on it. You can't.
I know what's going
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I mean, you know what
Finally.
character we're talking about, but the truth is, you don't know how things are going to happen, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It doesn't spoil everything, but yeah, no, it is. It's
It
great.
really is.
What they've done is fantastic, and the relationship between Laurie and Glenn, which has never really existed in the book, is really interesting, and part of why I come back to that show every week.
Yeah, my mom watches that show, and
Really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
after 2 episodes, she's like, "This is boring."
What?
Not
The
the,
first
first
2
season,
episodes?
the 2 episodes of the new season. She's like,
Oh, and yeah. Well, she gotta try and catch up because the truth is that I can see how somebody could feel that way, and where the show is going now, I don't think you would think it was boring at all. It just was a slow burn at the beginning. But anyway,
Yeah, I just hope they, find Sophia.
yeah.
That's
Well,
all.
I have a feeling that yeah,
Hopefully they'll.
it's coming
Yeah.
because the truth is we're only 6 episodes in.
Yeah.
We
That poor
are
little girl's
as
still
far
lost.
into this season as the last season was long, which is exciting. And the other thing was I finally got around to watching the last of the 3 Muppet movies that I wanted to watch before the new one, which was The Muppets Take Manhattan.
"Oh, that's the other one I saw at midnight." I was waiting to share.
Which I don't think I've ever seen The Muppets Take Manhattan, and it was really good. It was better than the Great Muppet Caper, which I didn't really care for. Yeah, it's surprising how those movies stand up because some of them rely so much on their cameos that if you don't know the people that are showing up, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't. But that movie is actually interesting, and there's enough sort of plot surrounding those characters that you're actually emotionally connected to what's going on. It's just not, oh, here's some silly things all strung together. It's still not as good as the first movie, and in my opinion, still not as good as Treasure Island, but enjoyable. I would buy it sometime, but not soon. What did you think of it, Brad?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole plot, it's kind of a simple plot.
Oh yeah.
Is this right after Muppet movie or Caper?
This is after Caper. So this is the Muppets Take Manhattan is the third
Third one?
Muppet movie.
Okay, that's weird because it seems like this is right after they had their TV show.
Yeah.
So
It may have been because at this point it was in the 80s. But anyway, they're going to Manhattan because they want to start a Broadway show, but they don't have any money.
based on their college show, which I didn't know they were going to college.
Yeah, no, that's just sort of at the beginning well, it's like they play a college and then they start telling people that they graduated from college or
Yeah.
like that they went to college as if they were actually educated. So they go to Manhattan so that they can set up a play, and they don't have any money, so they befriend a waitress and try to raise money. Oh, everybody else leaves.
Yeah.
Like, they don't actually help Kermit try to raise the money. Kermit sticks around and hits on this waitress, and Piggy gets mad, and then like Kermit
that
gets
movie
the
in
money
years.
and calls everybody back, but then he gets hit by a car and forgets who he is, and then they have to find him so that they can put on the show.
Also, Miss Piggy is a way better role model for girls than Bella.
I don't want to say.
Calling it.
Okay, sure, okay. I still don't like Miss Piggy. I never have.
So you know that whole argument that the original creators had about like the type of humor in the new movie?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a joke with Rolf in the producer's office where there's a fart joke in the office, and they're like, Rolf's like, "Why always blame it on the dog?"
There is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
so I don't know what they're complaining about. It's not
I read that.
Yeah.
I found
Well, and
another thing they're complaining about, too.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, this is talking about a little early, Brad, but the fart joke that they are talking about that's in the movie is taken out of context and is actually
Really
making
funny?
fun of fart. Yeah, it is really funny, but the joke itself is
Oh wait, it's
making fun of
it?
itself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fart shoes, and he's
it's
I
funny.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
like
the
on the
it's
same
the
level
normal
as the
like
Ralph joke.
Fozzie has bad jokes, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's
Anyway.
awesome.
Up in arms over nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, there's another.
In fact, there are
review.
things to complain about in this movie that are beyond that we'll talk about. But anyway, Muppets Take Manhattan is good, and that's pretty much everything I watched this week.
I just watched. I've been like busy for some reason, but it didn't seem like I was busy. It's really bizarre. I just watched Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 again, and it's amazing. On Blu-ray, man, beautiful.
I also saw this week's this year's parade, which was garbage.
Yep.
And during the parade, they had a song from the Spider-Man musical, which I had to mute.
Oh, yeah,
For one thing, there were 8 Spider-Men. There were 8
I just saw
Spider-Men
the balloon.
dancing.
I didn't see the rest of it.
Oh.
Gonna go to YouTube right after this.
Oh, there were 8 Spider-Men dancing, and they're singing some garbage song, and I just had to turn it off. 'Cause it
Wait,
was just...
you too? I mean, Bono writes terrible songs.
No, YouTube. Anyway, and that was bad too. But
Cool. So I guess we'll go right into the movie that only me and James saw. James, should people go see the Muppets?
heck yeah.
Yeah, the Muppets is awesome. But hey, trailer time.
We're trying to get the old gang back together again.
We haven't done this in a long time.
Your fans never left you. The world hasn't forgotten.
Sure, it's impossible, but we've got to try.
It's time to play the music.
It's time to light the lights.
It's time to meet the Muppets.
Wow, I can't believe we're all back together.
Sorry, I was super excited.
The Muppets have always been about artistic integrity, not cheap tricks.
Check it out. Fart shoes.
This is going to be a really short movie.
Oh, look, what's that over there?
But what?
Ow. Ow.
Throw me over.
I think that's an electric fence. It's an electric fence.
Yep.
Maybe you don't need the whole world to love you, you know? Maybe you just need one person.
Oh, Tommy.
And I don't care what anybody says. I believe in you. And you.
You think we should have rented a bigger car?
This Thanksgiving, there's no movie like a Muppet movie. Jason Segel, Amy Adams, Kermit the Frog, and Miss Piggy.
Ow, that hurt!
The Muppets.
I loved this movie. I really did. I thought it was really cute and funny, and because right away it starts off that Jason Segel has a brother and he's a Muppet, and so the whole opening montage is them growing up, and Jason Segel keeps on growing up, and the Muppet stays the same size. So they have like their lines, because their parents are measuring them, and it says Walter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's really funny, and and they never explain why he has a Muppet for a brother, and you just really have to buy into this world that a Muppet could be somebody's brother. and they live in Small Town, USA, is the actual name of it, and it's really cute at the beginning.
Well, because isn't the first movie like doesn't Kermit come from right outside of isn't Small Town USA already Muppets canon?
I don't remember.
I feel like that's true.
Maybe.
Maybe I'm making that up. Anyway.
But yeah, it starts. It has that big sunny colors, and the opening musical number is really catchy.
Yeah, it is.
And then
that's probably yeah.
I loved right at the beginning, Jason Segel's on his way to see his girlfriend of 10 years, Amy Adams, because they're going to go to LA for their 10th anniversary and going to go see Muppet Studios while they're there. And she's a school teacher, and he walks into her classroom, and she's changing the brakes on a car. Is she changing oil or changing the brakes?
No, it's something really complicated.
Yeah,
like it's
or the drive.
She has a whole car in a classroom.
And she comes out from underneath it and says, "And that's how you change the drive shaft." And the kids, she's like, "And time to go on break." And the kids are like, "No, we want to stay and learn." It's really funny.
Oh man.
And then she has this huge, because he's bringing Walter with him on their 10th anniversary, and she has this really big ballad where she's singing out of a raining window. And then at the end of the song, the gardener pulls a hose down and he's just spraying the window. Silly stuff like that. The movie is really silly.
Yeah.
But really good.
It's funny because sort of the movie takes place in the world that those movies always have, where the Muppet Show was a show produced by Muppets. They have made those movies, and those movies were successful, and now it's been a long time since people talked about the Muppets. And so one of the themes, and it's one of the things that I want us to talk about, is that like there's this whole question that if the Muppets try to come back and make a new show, will anyone pay attention or care? And there's questions about, well, is our world more cynical than it was then, and will that world not accept it? Is the kind of comedy that's in a movie like this, which it is, it's a different kind of comedy than we've seen in a long time. Not just the meta, but the little silly things like that. The fact that you have these characters that are, especially characters like Fozzie, who are themselves a joke, and who, somebody pointed this out to me that I didn't even notice this until then, that these characters were created to be like Dr. Teeth and the band were created to be making fun of or mirroring the popular bands at that time, and now when you go back to those characters aren't modern. They're still stuck in that time zone, so they don't even necessarily reflect the same things that they did then. It's not the same joke anymore, and it's fascinating the way that they deal with that, because on one hand it's really funny, but at the same time, I saw this movie on Wednesday and the theater was not crazy packed, and so at the same time, every time they would bring those questions up, I would go, yeah, like what if no one goes to see this movie? Like what if they talk so openly about, like, maybe the world isn't okay with the Muppets anymore, and then no one goes to see the Muppets.
Yeah, I thought that was actually one of the most heartbreaking themes throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah,
it's because they actually would talk to you, like when Kermit would talk, it was like he was talking to you.
Oh, absolutely.
And he was saying like how irrelevant they are now, that they don't matter because no one cares anymore. And Fozzie went off to Reno, and he's in this like tribute band called the Muppets, and it's really because I like the Muppets, and so kind of like it's sad, but it's also cool to see him on screen. And
there's a really, maybe the most disappointing thing about, well, and I shouldn't say it that way, but the moment I was most disappointed in the movie was, there's always been the joke where Kermit will start to do he'll start a speech and then somebody will interrupt him, and there's one of those in this one. But when he starts that speech, the speech he starts is something like, I believe that kids are smart, and I believe that kids are good, and that they understand story. And he's starting to say, like, I think we can make kids movies and tell kids stories and entertain kids in a way that doesn't talk down to them and is entertaining to everyone, and gives them good messages. And that's the speech he starts. And I wanted that speech. Like, I wanted him to tell us, like, I wanted it to be a little convicting, and us go like, oh yeah, with the exception of the Pixar movies, there's just this dirge of crap for kids, and it is. It's sort of sad at the same moment that you're so excited that there's, a Muppets movie.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they are basically putting on the Muppet Show, and you're. I mean, I unfortunately wasn't young enough to watch the Muppet Show when I was a kid, but even in me, it had this this place of like when they started that song, I was 6 years old again. Like I was watching the Muppet Show and I was a little kid and I thought I want them to put the Muppet Show back on, you know. So it was really exciting and fun to see, and at the same time you're going, oh man, what if this doesn't work? Like I want this back so bad, and I'm so terrified that it won't stick.
Yeah, and one of the big complaints the original puppeteers had about it, I was reading, is that Kermit lives by himself with not Miss Piggy anymore. That he's in a mansion by himself, and Miss Piggy went away. That's like their biggest sticking point in the plot. But to me, I thought it was more poignant because it's after the show. What do the Muppets have? Yeah, and they kind of went their own way.
Yeah, because the story is that like Kermit has to be isolated because they're all separated, you know. And this movie is about bringing them all back together. If it was him and Piggy together, like they would have each other, and then it's a question of, you know, getting the rest of the gang back together, which isn't as convicting. And at the same time, you know, yes, they get married at the end of Muppets Take Manhattan, but I don't really feel like their relationship is one where I want them to always be together. Like part of the fun with those two characters is this sort of will they, won't they, pig and frog. And you know,
Take Manhattan, most of the time, like Piggy will say how they're going to get married, and Kermit just slyly blows it off. Like he won't say anything, or
because it's the chase
that little sort of thing in him is part of his character. And it's funny because I'm glad that I went back and watched those old movies, because I think if before that you had said something about, oh, there's going to be a Muppet movie, I would have remembered the Muppets the way that I remember like Sesame Street, where they're all sort of pristine, perfect characters, you know, and they sing these songs. Isn't that fun? But the truth is, part of what's so good about the Muppets is that they aren't, you know. Like, yes, Kermit believes in people and wants to get the best out of people, but the truth is that he's weak and he makes mistakes, and he, you know, one of the conflicts of those, I don't remember which movie, but there's a scene, in Muppets Take Manhattan, he yells at the rest of the cast, like he gets really angry with them, and you realize like, oh, this is actually a real dude, and in that way he's allowed to not be married to his wife anymore, because he's allowed to make that mistake because he's supposed to be a real person.
Also, Muppet marriages aren't legal in the United States.
Also Muppet marriages aren't legal.
And that's why he's my favorite Muppet. I think because Kermit's so relatable and he's so likable, but at the same time he has his flaws, and I think it's really a testament to not only Jim Henson, even though he died so long ago, but he created this mystique about Kermit the Frog that, you know, he might be green felt, but he's still a real character and he has this great personality. And I mean, when he got up and started singing the Rainbow Connection, I was like, it like brought me joy, and like you don't, like, I don't want to say cry, but like you had this, I don't know, this chokingness in you when you want to, I don't know how to describe it. It's an amazing movie, and I don't know what people are so worried about, because I think the script by Jason Segel is actually treats them with tons of respect.
Yeah,
and
because part of what the movie is about is that nostalgia, and you can see how much he loves these characters in the way that he writes even the character that he writes his character and his brother Walter to be these characters that are absolutely in love with the Muppets, and see, you know, how special that group was and why that needs to come back.
And 80s robots in it. It's pretty funny.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that was one of the best jokes.
And then they did this montage. They went and they started... they went to get Fozzie, and they had this huge like speech and everything. And which one of them said that? Why don't we just do a montage to get the rest of the Muppets?
Yeah. I think Jason Segel. Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's... who is it?
It might be 80s Robot.
It might be 80s Robot.
Yeah, who says, why don't we just do a montage?
Yeah, time for a montage. Yeah. And then they're in there, and Rolf says, "Wait, why'd you guys show me? I was pretty interesting." And they cut to him, and he's sleeping on a hammock, and Kermit says, "Hey, Rolf, you want to come back and do it?" "Okay."
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, and there's a lot of really good meta jokes where they straight up are talking about the fact that they're in a movie, which is, you know, classic Muppets,
and Chris
really
Cooper
good ones.
Raps in it.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
It's really weird, but it's really funny.
You know, it's not quite as good as Michael Caine singing. That's for sure. But yeah, it's really a wonderful movie. Brad, I want to know what you think about the Muppets coming back, and do you think it's possible?
It's possible. It's a little bit improbable.
So you don't think that's what I mean? Like, do you think that a modern audience, that regular today kids, would actually be interested in the Muppets?
I feel like I'm out of touch to answer that.
Oh, okay.
It just, watching in the past, 10, 15 years being irrelevant, this is like, I mean, I feel like they've done a better job marketing it.
Disney.
As Disney, yeah. So, I think they're gonna, like Muppets in Space, that made $6 million.
Yeah.
I saw
but
that
that
in
was
the
also
theater.
really, I did too.
But that was still marketed by Jim
Henson
Company Studio. So I feel like there's definitely a lot more attention built around this one. So
yeah.
Well, this is a better movie.
It'll probably make $40 million this weekend. So I mean, if it has staying power, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, the question has to be like, will they make sequel, or even better? Because I don't even want sequel. I want a Muppet Show. Period.
Well, they already tried to do that. Like, what, in 2000? They had Muppets Tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
and
remember
it lasted
that.
for like 4 episodes.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think kids are just too trained to like accept CGI as being cool. So
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Growing up and even today, like watching puppets, I find them more convincing than most CGI characters. But I think that's different from someone who started growing up with, Toy Story and.
Yeah. What was the original? What time period? I mean, like, what time slot was the original Muppet Show on?
74 to 79. Or like
no. She
night,
means like
10 o'clock at night or something. It was like a late night variety show.
Yeah.
It was that late?
Yeah.
It was actually geared towards
so
adults.
kids are
not kids.
It's geared towards adults.
I was pretty sure it was like aimed at adults.
Because I just before I went, I read.
Well, because all the guests and stuff.
Just make it for adults. Kids will watch it because I don't know.
They like watching what their parents watch.
And yeah, I've heard people talk about the fact that like when they were kids, they didn't necessarily follow the movie and understand what the story that was going on. They just liked watching the Muppets. Like they just paid attention to the puppets and thought the puppets were funny, and so the entertainment for kids was just that. Because the truth is, maybe half the jokes of this movie are not even things that I think the average kid would laugh
I feel
at.
like the critics aren't aimed at children, so I don't. If it was never aimed at children, then why are they aimed at kids? I don't.
Well, but it is aimed at children to a certain extent. I mean, it's puppets and their stories are purposely simple, and the messages are childlike and innocent. I think that like when the original Muppet movie came out, I think that you took kids to see that movie. You enjoyed it too, but in the same way that now you take kids to see a Pixar movie. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're just talking about them making a Muppets TV show, and if
I see what you're saying. You're saying like if they made a Muppets TV show, it should be geared towards adults.
I would put it on at about just before Craig Ferguson. I don't know, like.
Well, then what's Dave gonna do?
Who cares?
I actually think they should embrace the nostalgia more.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like go back to like the old '70s stuff. Get all those old maybe not all the old guests, but
yeah.
I mean, Elton John was a huge
you get
guest.
Steve Martin, but some of those people are dead.
But
like John
the
Denver.
Toy Story
get the
little
parents
short
interested.
before it was kind of cute.
Oh yeah. I meant to talk about that in What to Watch.
It wasn't as I don't think it was as good as the Hawaiian one, but it was still kind of cute.
Yeah, it was good.
Buzz Lightyear gets left behind in a McDonald's type restaurant.
Ew, I didn't see the Hawaiian one because Cars 2.
And he talks to all the toys that were rejected. So it's these really goofy toys. It's pretty funny, like from the hamburger Happy Meals.
Yeah, they sort of focus on a specific kind.
And the little
Buzz
Buzz Lightyear sneaks in and goes home with Boo. Or what the fuck's that girl's name? I can't remember her name.
Not Boo. Boo's
from Monsters Inc.
What is her name? I called her the best thing to ever happen to the Toy Story movies.
I can't remember her name.
And you forgot her.
Yeah. It's
Remember
something
her
with a B.
No.
Phoebe.
No. Anyway.
Anyways, and then the little Buzz Lightyear is ice skating. It's really funny.
Yeah, it is really good. It's not heartwarming and doesn't
No,
make me cry.
it's just cute.
But it's just good.
But I really thought it was clever the credits they had. The menu board was really funny. Like it was called the mace, and it's this piece of fried chicken that was shaped like a mace. The weapon.
Yeah, it's good.
Pretty funny.
Anyways,
go see the Muppets. It's awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Make Kermit relevant.
And there's a lot of good cameos in there too.
There is. Yeah.
We shouldn't say them because a lot of them just you want to not know.
Yeah.
Because every now, somebody will open a door and be like, "Hey, I'm here too," and you're like, "Ah,
that guy."
you know.
Take Manhattan.
Dude, Hobo Joe.
Yeah.
We don't have to say who Hobo Joe is,
Hobo
but
Joe
Hobo
is great.
Joe is amazing. Oh, most especially because he brings the garbage can with him.
Yep.
That is on fire.
The
Okay.
garbage can should have Oscar in it. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, there aren't any Sesame Street characters.
Oh,
in
because
here.
Disney doesn't own them. I read.
Oh, really?
I read because I was getting geared up for it, so I was reading all the
Also
stuff.
because they're not Muppets.
And originally, Jim Henson was going to sell the Muppets to Disney in '89 for $150 million, and then he died. Is it cold in here? Did someone leave the door open? He died of pneumonia.
I know.
The fuck?
It was horrible. Like there are only so many days of my life that I remember before the age of 6 or whatever, and one of them is the day Jim Henson died. I remember that.
Yeah, no, I remember that too. Like I was on the way to school. We were just
Yeah.
pulling up to the bus stop. This is in Florida. And yeah, that came on the radio.
I was an
Dead, and I
infant being
still remember that.
babysat,
What? Yeah, what
and I
year was
remember
that?
that.
90.
I
90.
couldn't walk yet. Oh wait, no, I totally
Was that before Ninja Turtles came out, or?
No. 'cause
I don't
he-
remember.
that was
I
the
wasn't
last-
old
one of the
enough to
last things
see
he ever
PG
worked on.
movies.
That was one of the last things he ever worked on. But
I was 2.
anyways, part of the deal that Disney, when they bought all the Muppets, is they didn't get Sesame Street stayed part of Jim Henson, but Kermit could never appear on Sesame Street again.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah.
But if you've seen the Muppets Vision at Walt Disney World, it's pretty awesome.
And there's clearly a lot of cameos that were cut out. Like, if you pay attention closely, you can see. I didn't catch it, but my dad did. Like, Ricky Gervais is in the last dance sequence because he had a scene that was cut. Danny Trejo was supposed to be in the movie, but he's cut.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of good because those are the ones that you knew, the cameos you knew going in, and then they aren't there. So the actual cameos are a little more special.
And I'm really hoping that the Blu-ray will be in a green case.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway.
go see the Muppets.
Absolutely.
Have a nice week.
Why
What
didn't
are
we
we
go
seeing
see it
next
again?
week?
I don't know. My laptop died.
Okay, so I'm gonna look up the show times or the week times, and
Click.
you
This
talk
is
about
the
where we
sound-
gotta go.
Yeah.
Find
Well,
stuff.
but it's yeah. List
got
off list off the where to find things.
Okay, cool. Tell me when you're recording. Okay, just go now.
Yeah.
You can like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at real_nerds. You can also read our awesome blogs. Like this week I wrote who should be in the Uncharted movie at realnerds.tumblr.com. You can also email us at realnerds@gmail.com.
Like Aaron did.
Aaron emailed
was
us.
so
Thank you,
nice.
Aaron. And she, brought up some points. Not good ones, but you know what? Hopefully that's the last time I'll ever talk about Twilight on this podcast.
It won't be.
It won't be because there's an
And if
abomination.
she wants to, she can get me to buy her a ticket to go see a movie with Brad.
Take her to go see Shame.
Oh God,
That won't be awkward.
Oh
That'd be
man,
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
So it looks like Hugo, because unless you want to see Shame,
Unless
or,
Shame comes out here in the 9 theaters it is nationwide.
yeah,
Denver.
so
I don't really want to see Shame. Sorry, Sierra.
I'll go.
You maybe I'll watch the trailer again and maybe you'll be able to convince me. But I think as a podcast we got to go see Hugo.
Okay.
It's just then a question of whether or not we see it in 3D,
I mean, it's
which
fine by me.
we can spend the next week talking about.
Yeah.
Also.
I like movies, so I'll see anything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I like
them.
their moving pictures.
Yeah. Plus, it's like a movie about making movies. Like it's about the history of film to some extent. Spoilers.
Shame?
Yeah. No, not Shame. Not
Weird.
Shame. But, like the second half of Hugo is really about like the history of filmmaking.
kind of like Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, speaking of Jack Black, see you next week.
See ya. Bye.